right, good evening, guys. Ken at Tortoise Capital, Nightly Strategy Podcast for May 9th, 2023. We'll start with the 30-minute hybrid swing portfolio. These are all 30-minute bars, starting with Alcoa. The recurring themes tonight going to be find the movers, that all the patterns look the same when they're leaving the station, and that the market doesn't remember, and that each trade you take is the first trade of the next 1,000, so you must cultivate some disinterestedness. There was a question in the Foundation's Q&A yesterday about how do you get 0.6 average losses by design. Here's how you do it. You got a PSAR flip, and intraday that normally looks like the R10 MMRB. Just set that equal to a minus 0.6 loss. Position size off a 1.0 loss. Demand to see two of those to the upside, not drawn to scale, excuse me, which means that you essentially have to now see 3, if that's 0.6, and I need to see 2 to 1 for position sizing, then that just means I need to have a 3 to 1 risk box to the upside, or a gain box to the upside. Whatever my reasonable target is, I now have to have a 3 to 1 compared to the size of that 0.6, because 3 times 0.6 is 1.8, and that's approximately the 2 to 1 that you need to justify the position sizing risk. Hey, guess what? When the market opens here and then does a harsh sell-off that into the harsh winter that justifies the beginning of an SSC, which should be your first pattern, and we set that equal to the R10 MMRB, and we know that that is 1/10 of a range stat. That means we know that there's 9 of those little MMRBs to the upside. So when you have a harsh winter, demand to see a harsh winter, because that's what puts this thing in play. And then if it bottoms out here, which is where the R10 bottoms out, and then it reversed enough to give you that little 1 risk box, you've got 9 of those to the upside. So you're going to be able to meet your 2 to 1 objective easily. Now all you have to do is set the PSAR flip equal to minus 0.6, and now you are not in the position of trying to decide, should I try to get out in here in order to achieve a 0.6 of that? Hey, between the 2 risk boxes, between the 2 PSAR flips, that is entirely the yellow zone. That is 100% pure noise. There is no information in there. There is no signal in here. None. Until it breaks. The first time you get a signal is when the belly of the R10, of the RL10 breaks, or the PSAR flips, and that gives you a collapsing dragon. So don't monkey around trying to exit inside here for little fractionals, because you put yourself in the position of saying, I know I defined this region as the noise box where there is no signal, but I'm going to try to interpret the price as if there's a signal to get out. And then instead of just following a simple rule that caps your loss at minus 0.6, you're in here trying to write a bunch of little if-then rules that are going to turn this system into complexity, and you'll never execute it the same way twice, and you can never have any confidence in what you're doing. So just set it equal to 0.6. Demand to see 3 of those to the upside to your reasonable target, whatever you're defining that as. And now you're getting 2 units of potential reward for your position sizing risk. And then if that exits, you are comfortably into the collapsing dragon, which is the pattern that you want. Like, this is on the 30-minute. So all I'm doing on this is saying, look, I'm not allowed to be surprised if it comes back to this level like it did. That was in such a sideways channel for such a long time that it went from summer to fall before it ever even collapsed into a harsh winter. Winter, spring, winter. That's a harsh winter. That is a harsh winter. That is winter, spring, winter. That is a harsh winter, and it's below the Red River. Done. So now the PSAR flip, I'll set that equal to 0.6. Can I see 3 of those to the upside? 1, 2, 3. It's 3 to the upside, just getting to the top of the dragon. And it's another 3 on a return to glory, which is 6. And if this fails here, I'm just going to be short with a collapsing dragon. Done. All this requires is that you see a little more justification for taking the risk. In other words, it makes you have a better trade frame. That would be gold. Meanwhile, back in the jungle, the reference there is the New York Dolls from the 70s. Great tune. All right, so the last trade in Alcoa, is this Alcoa? Yeah, Alcoa on the swing was this one. And we just took the gift because why not? Because how sad am I going to be at cashing a 5R win no matter what? Not sad at all. So that was such a strong move. I just let me see a harsh winter and a sell-off in here. Let me see a COTA 2. It didn't even get into the winter here until after it started rolling up. And now it's already above the 0 line. So today, halfway through the day, it consolidated, failed to fail further, took the entry, standard risk box, held my nose. It's a little bit in the money, but that's what it looks like. If that fails, I'm not going to monkey around in there tomorrow. If it fails, I'm short. Otherwise, I just leave it alone. It's either going to get above this price level and go, or it's going to fail through here. Leave it alone. Go look at something else. AI. So this one, PSAR flip. Leave it alone. Trust the PSAR. Leave it alone. When this happens, you could start thinking about preserving because you have 1, 2, 3R in hand, and that's an abnormally good gain. And maybe you just want to lock in 2. Now you're using a money management exit and not a technical exit. Have a plan on how to exit abnormal gains. Oh, and now here's a COTA 2. Standard entry. Standard risk. Closed well here. Today it took off. It's already above all of the observed resistance levels. I just add a second when it goes here. My stop will be there tomorrow. And we're holding 3R on the first one and 1R on the second one. So we're plus 4 in 2 positions. What if you just took that exit there and banked 4R and had no overnight risk? We would not sue you. This one is supposed to be a COTA 2. Sold off and started to recover. Had this run up and I missed the gift. Gave it this long, this long, this long. The PSAR flipped here. 0.3. Gave it a chance. Cliff. This was a gap and go, and we cashed a couple R yesterday, no trade. Today, it sold off quick and then broke through the PSAR. It failed to fail. So, gave it a try. It went to here, came back, took a fractional before the close. Scratch. CVS. Yesterday initiated a short, sold off to here, and today we exited here when it did not fail. Exited with 1. Still stalking that one. Dish Network, beauty. 2 days ago, it was the PSAR flip, warning hook. Why not? Closed well. The next day, ran all the way up, started coming down, took the gift. Watched the gyrations yesterday. Couldn't take it. Today, it gapped down and started dropping like a rock, so short. Second position, closed here. I was really tempted to cover, except it had already cleared all of the resistance and support, all of the support. And this is a Red River, or this is a winter that's well out of the Red River. So this is what panic looks like. So I think there's one more day of pain and suffering in that, enough to hold 2 positions and about 3R. Devon Energy. Short on the breakdown of the PSAR. We exited yesterday when it wasn't following through. Failure to follow through is information. Today, big gap down, selling off, standard risk, short, at 1, 2, 3, edge of the river, take 3R, and no overnight risk. Every one of those where you take it before the close, that's just buffer for the ones that I do elect to hold over. This one was, let's see, Electronic Arts, started the morning hook, nothing, scratch. Emerging markets, there was a big gap down against us. Now, we only had 1 position on, so this felt really promising because we were 1, 2, 3, 4 in hand, but then it dropped 1, 2, 3, so I get out of it with +1. So we lost 3 by holding it overnight, hoping for more. Well, the reason to hold it overnight, because it had cleared this hump, and all signs pointed to yes. Take your chances. Ethereum is stabilizing, no trade. Mexico, 2 positions long today and holding it overnight. This felt like the strongest little COTA 2 series that you ever saw. And this broke above the emerging dragon, and it closed really well, so I decided here to hold it, and we'll see. So that's holding 3 on the first one, 1 on the second one, so that's +4 with every opportunity to break. This is the 30-day high and the 10-day high. So that's as strong as it can be. So I like that all day. Brazil. This is one where the intraday move just petered out. So we scratched. This was short. It came back up this morning. We covered for a scratch. It moved through the PSAR, went long, and it rejected the 30-day high, came back, just took the exit for a half. No overnight risk. Intel got short. This gave us a gap down. This has been horrible. It gapped here, sold off, came up, couldn't even get through the dragon, so took the short here. Standard risk. It closed poorly. We're about 0.5 in hand. IP, no trade. IYR, no trade. KRE, initiated the long. I will be ready to smash this on the short side if this fails tomorrow, right in here. I will be ready to get short on that with 2 positions, because that one is really weak, and it could be one of those. We shall see. Go to the chat room. Eugene uploaded some really good background information on the status of banks and the turning point in loan exposures and interest rates for those guys. So pretty interesting stuff. This is McDonald's. I initiated the long on this one. I like this little run up. I noticed that it couldn't hold that, but then it held here at a COTA 2. And so I'll play this, knowing that there was people that were buying in those levels. So if this just recovers, and certainly if it gets above here, people are going to rediscover their love of McDonald's. So I'll take that one. I will also get short there if that fails. So that's basically just holding the position for tomorrow. Merck, yesterday's COTA 2 didn't pan off, so we cashed a fractional win. Marijuana initiated the short. This is a high, a lower high. Here's your collapsing dragon. So that's a pocket entry, and that's like a COTA 2 to the downside. And it closed poorly, so that's holding +1. And if that breaks tomorrow, it comes back to here. So this could be the big move tomorrow in marijuana. Clean energy. It was a one-day COTA 2, and I just wanted to get paid. I didn't like that this low was lower than that low. So this was already starting to roll over, and it's in the winter. And that felt like, you know what, let me just take that little gain right now for 0.5. Call it a day. Rivian initiated the long. It held support at the double bottom. Standard risk. Up we go. This one, actually, we closed that one. The long yesterday was nice, but then it gapped down to here, so I got out for a scratch. And then it sold off to here, so I just put the position back on. Net 0. Treasuries, I've just missed that entire slide. Ugh, horrible. I'm ready to, I think, bracket this tomorrow. Call that the 0 state, ready to go this way or that way. I promise I will take that trade tomorrow. Tesla, cashed the intraday short. There wasn't any real conviction to the downside, so as you were. So, yeah, that was the exit. And then I was thinking about short now, but we took the long here. I should have said we're long from there. Misread my own stupid chart. I was thinking, I didn't remember shorting Tesla today. Last one, U.S. Steel. COTA 2. Old reliable. Intraday, we're about 2 hours into the day. It breaks through. I'll give it a try. See how it goes. If it gets above this, that should go pretty nicely, because that is not resistance. That was just a panic sell-off. So if it can get through, I would say it should be able to get to 22.20. If it can get above 22.20, it closes this. That is not any resistance at all. If it gets above 22.20, second position. All right, so that's the swing portfolio. sniper trade of the day. So yesterday we went through the numbers on TSN. That was the Tyson Food, for those of you that endured all the way through. That's where it closed yesterday. That was at the tail end of a Godzilla move that had a 7.5 standard deviation move to the downside. So huge sell. Today, the sell-off continued here. Here's the OR3. It consolidated here and then sold off. So we're short from here with a standard risk box there. So standard short from there. Check or hold. So that immediately fails for 1R. It then rolls over. I take the short again, exactly the same trade. Just hold my nose and take it. That's an OR3 breakdown. Second position on the R10 wiggle. And then that's like a collapsing dragon on that. So second position. And then by the time price is here, I got to make sure that my stop is right about here so that both of these positions are in the money. And then it failed to fail further. The R10 starts rolling up. Take the exit at the edge of the dragon just to lock in again. +3 on this one, +1 on that one, so that's +4, and -1. So we are at net 3 right now. Check or hold. This is a COTA 2 short. It failed to get through the PSAR. Half an hour gain. Reshort the COTA 2. Micro loss, stop and reverse. Half an hour gain. Short again. Exit in the usual place for 1. Stop and reverse. Exit at the usual place for +1, and that's it for the day. So Tyson Foods, as a follow-through from yesterday's psychic meltdown, if you will. If we just count them up. This was net 3. That's about 1, 0. Oh no, that's -0.5. That one's about 1. That's about 1. That's about 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 -1, about 6 for the day. This feels like that the bottom in Tyson has been established. Like there were multiple places where this thing could have just gotten smoked, but it did not. So if we look at the longer view of that thing, that's what it looks like on the 30 minutes. So this was that horrible earnings, and then yesterday's smash -7, and today was a continuation That's where we made that 3R. And then it just kind of bottomed out and had that little spike up here. And now this establishes a really interesting box. I'll be ready to trade this in either direction tomorrow. I'm just going to follow the money. And that's about $1 box. Check or hold. In the Foundations course, Luke is experimenting with a new set of rules that based on PSAR flips and RLXDs. And here he is in Cliff, and he gets a little PSAR flip to here on this much risk. 1, 2, 3, 4. And this was his design thinking as part of the creativity course. The lesson he was on was challenging him to take a fresh look at design criteria, simple, robust rules, and turn it into actionable rule sets and hand it to somebody else to trade as a way to start iterating with feedback. So it's a pretty good session. The recording is available to the Creativity 202 guys. There was a really good discussion on that. This is a picture of what book 1 looks like for us. You saw a flood of owl notes. So book number 1 is a documentation of the tortoise community of practice. Where we come from, how we try to collaborate and learn together. This is a review of all the realistic challenges of trading based on the top 20 psychologists in the world, the top 20 legendary traders and their keys to success, and 20 well-known investors for long-term buy. What is their realistic assessment of the trading and investing game? We're going to talk about the 10 books that have influenced my thinking and our strategies. These are those books. The 4 Chinese Sages for Our Role in Society. Deming and Omai for Quality Control in Industrial Strategy. These are the excellent trading psychologists. Dan Ariely has written about why people are predictably irrational. James Clear talks about how to create new habits. Marcus Aurelius teaches us how to live properly in a stoic world. Musashi and Yoshinaga teach us about being all in the way of the living sword. Kaufman is another great psychologist, but also a systems documenter. Taleb helps us remember about black swans and being anti-fragile. Mandelbrot teaches us about fractals. Kahneman talks us about cognitive bias in financial matters and why the rational economic man is not how you base your judgment of what the market will do, but rather on how actual people behave. So those are the books that have influenced, broadly speaking, our system. We then are going to go through a series of models about system, self, and market, the 37 strategies, our methods of trading based on statistics and what we think our edges are. We're going to talk about plan, prepare, execute, assess, time, will, pattern, and money, daily AARs, and histogram analysis. These are our top-level processes and models. We're going to talk about these lessons learned from the COVID area of 3.5 years of nightly strategy podcasts and all the things that we've learned in over those 1,000-plus coaching sessions. We'll talk about trading models and metaphors, about why these mental models can give traders advantages against other traders that are unskilled or uneducated. We're going to profile 10 successful traders from our community of practice, each one of them has found success in their own way by making a personal adaptation of pieces and parts of our trading ecosystem. We're going to have 3 chapters from my brother and from Phil and Griff that go deeply into the details of their systems and strategies. The part of 10s is going to look at these quick 10 skills, a quick summary of the things that are available in our different workshops and why we think things like statistical process control, systems thinking, creativity, etc., all give us an advantage in a world that is realistically very challenging, as demonstrated by psychologists, traders, and investors from the Hall of Fame. We're going to talk about the 75 skills that we developed in the Creativity 202 course, where we said, what are the things that we think have led to our success? And we identified 75 of them, and we put them into a job book. And we're going to give 5 samples of what that job book looks like and how to start mastering some of these ideas in a detailed way. We're going to provide our updated glossary and then a sample system description, I think, of the washout pattern, just to show how powerful beliefs can be, and that when you operationalize them, you can establish systems out of beliefs that are really quite challenging. So that's what book number 1 is going to look like. It basically documents our work. We basically believe in being realistic in our collaborative learning environment, committing to our systems in writing, trading them as best we can with accountability partners and coaches, doing our homework, showing our work, and owning our results. So, and then collaborating together so that the people may thrive. Mike asked me if my coaching has changed based on, I think it's gotten a lot deeper, but the basics of how I was coaching prior to COVID had to do with written trading plans, bar-by-bar trading, documenting decisions, and statistical process control. That's what I learned from Deming and the Japanese manufacturers. And none of that changed. In fact, what COVID proved to me was that was the proper way to understand how I trade and how to trade in that manner as an industrial process. COVID made everybody more of what they are. And it made us more reliant on statistics, math, and professional practice and collaborative learning environment. So I have not changed. What I've done is actually started coaching a lot more. I mean, prior to COVID, I was not doing nightly podcasts. I was not doing weekend swing trade portfolio reviews. So COVID drove me to increase the level of my game for delivering coaching and teaching to others. Prior to COVID, I would say I put the information out there and demonstrated how I did it, but I really wasn't all that interested in coaching. But I believe that COVID was such a psychological challenge that it demanded that people band together in order to defeat loneliness and fear. And so the added energy to the community of practice is sort of what we've done. And as a result of COVID, I have really been working hard to have my students that are successful designing their own courses so that they could teach those courses that shows how they apply my material. Because I believe that if you want to learn something, try to teach it. So, and I also believe that if you're a teacher, just show me your students. So that's why guys like my brother and Luke and Griff and Phil and Bill Scheidt and Jeff Boccaccio I've been helping them design courses to teach the systems that they've been working on, which I think are them applying my material in ways that are really suited for them. So my coaching has been more in that direction. I'm adding to it the whole person coaching through the ICF, International Coaching Federation. I start that my own personal coaching certification because I believe that you should respect the body of knowledge, and I'm hoping to improve my coaching strategy through the things that they're going to teach. I've got 40 years of coaching experience in different disciplines, but I don't have an ICF license, and I respect the work that they've done enough to go through it systematically to see what it is that I can learn, and I'm looking forward to doing that. But I've been coaching for the Army and for sports and for martial arts and for Army officers and traders for 40 years, and so I'm looking to add that extra piece. No, that's fine. I was going to probably talk about that anyway. So anyway, that's what's in the book. I want to, and it kind of lays out those of you on Patreon who said, what are all those owl notes? Well, that's what those things are, is the background of all these different bodies of knowledge. And as I said on Patreon, the sniper doesn't need to know how the industrial machine produced such a precision instrument as that sniper rifle in order to shoot straight against good targets. But you might want to know how that thing came about and what all this stuff is resting on. And these are the things that, in general, have produced the things like the sniper rules, the PRX system that Bill and Jeff do, the Kata 2 challenge that Griff and Phil do, that kind of stuff. The 5-minute Aussie that Luke does. So that's what's in the book. Book 2 is going to be the 75 skills job book, broken out in great detail for complete mastery of our body of knowledge and the ecosystem. I just feel it's important to get all that stuff documented now. I'm 65. I want to make sure that it gets put in writing. All right, let's look at the traders. A lot of charts tonight, so I'm going to go through this pretty quickly and just hit the highlights. So this is Steve, and he's doing his digital stuff. I just want you to notice there is a Kata 2 PSAR flip for that entire trade. Trust the PSAR. Here's the PSAR flip. There's an owl entry all the way to the PSAR flip. Trust the PSAR. He takes the long and gets a good cash. PSAR flip and collapsing dragon, he gets paid 0.5 and 2.5. So nice work. But there's more there. There's a lot more there on the two big moves. Eugene is marking up the a trade frame here for Wayfair. He's using a fractal 3-day. Oops, let me get that in black so you can see. A 3-day and a 1-day chart. Notice how powerful and important that support level is. Now, what he is noticing is that this is the compelling Z3 to Z3 box, and that this little burst was the anomaly, and that today's little doji action was unpersuasive. Like if this was going to break out and go, you might expect it to have done something like this. But it didn't do that. It was an inside day and halted at Z3. So he's looking at that as a reversion to the mean trade to that side of the channel. I would also be prepared, I would say, that if it does break above, say, 4250, you've now broken above this level. You don't get any resistance until here. So there is an upside trade that I see, but the more likely one to me is that one. The 3-day, 1-day, this is the regional banking. This is one we talked about yesterday with KRE. And the 3-day, you can see, has completely collapsed, although today was a bit of a recovery, but then a bit of a sell-off today. So this was a harsh winter that broke down. It reversed, but then could not get through the dragon. The PSAR's already flipped, and today was a poor close. So if this continues to fail, don't be surprised if it comes down to 34, where you could put a second entry. If you got short on initial weakness, a second entry would go here. Three-day, one-day. This was Tyson Foods. This is the this was the setup from yesterday. And you will recall that I put that little wrist box around it and said, let's see. And then today, that's where it sold off for the 3R and gave us a few more on the recovery. But it failed to fail much further. So this could actually become part of the bottoming process somewhere around 50. I mean, it's not like they're going out of business. Got to eat chicken somewhere. All right, let's look at Tim. Net positive for the day. Alcoa was problematic. When this OR3 breaks out, he's here. He takes the quick cut. I think you could get long here again instead of waiting for this, because you're with the VWAP, and then instead of a scratch, you get a bit of a gain. I like this a little bit sooner when it breaks below the VWAP, so like maybe in here. But I still like this, and I like this exit when it crosses the dragon and the VWAP. But I think you could have, if you hadn't stopped trading, I think you could actually trade that one. This is Advanced Micro. Gets the nice break on the OR3. Takes it just before the edge of the dragon to get paid. Waits for the PSAR flip. Gets paid. This is one where after, look, you get 3 legs up on this. Just a teaching point. So there's leg 1, pause. The dragon holds it up. It doesn't penetrate through the skin of the dragon. Here's your second leg up. It's almost, it's actually above the previous Z3. And then it starts to fail 5 bars in a row. Take it right there instead of here. And then that's almost another 0.5R. And then this is your short, and he crushes that. And that's his stop and reverse long. He crushes that. So this 2.1 could have been 2.7 with that extra refinement right here. But good discipline on that one. Let's see. Eugene goes for the OR3, takes a quick loss. The PSAR flip here. Hold on. Yeah, nothing much was there. He's now framing this as a potential 3-to-1 to the downside. The net was -1. Okay, that was a scratch, and trade 3 was short with a scratch to here, and that was the Wayfair follow through. It really didn't manifest, so -1, properly traded. Excuse me. PacWest Bancorp net 0, so there was an OR3 short. I think you can take the stop and reverse there, because you had 10 bars for it to fail. It didn't. So the upside is there, and that gives you a little more. You get a bit of a boost, maybe half an R there. I like that short, and I love the scratch. Proper short, great second position, quick exit, leg 1, leg 2, leg 3, really well played all the way through. The Gold Trust, so he is, let's see. Let me see where you got this. Okay, so gap up and then a morning hook and go. Gets paid. Scratch. Gets paid. Stop and reverse. Gets paid. So net 2. Was experimenting with Bill's 2R battle drill, so he put the second one on. It just didn't add, but that's good work. Oh, is this Brian? Okay. So, again, I want to show you that the harsh winter Yeah, 4,000 pages is right. Yeah, Greg, I just saw your note in there. Yeah, I went in the last 3 weeks. I've produced about 400,000. No, not 400. 2,000,000 divided by 5. 800,000 words with Koala at about 300 words a page. That's about 250 pages, I guess. I don't know. It's just a lot of words. So this gap is included as part of the harsh winter, and it sells off to here. This is your beginning of spring. You can actually think about a 1, 2, 3 entry. You can think about that risk box right there, and then a kata 2 right there, and then an exit at the edge of the dragon. Then your short is here, and then your exit is here. And then you might have tried that long and scratched, and then short and scratched, and then you would improve that overall score. Let's see, this is Hamad. I love this kata too. I love it better here where it hits the PSAR. So I'd like your entry to be there with a risk box here. Set that equal to minus 0.6. You get this. 1, 2, 3 exit would be here. That's still pretty good right there. Your re-entry can be right here because it comes down. The R10 never even gets through the spine of the dragon. This doesn't violate the PSAR, and you get a 1-2 re-entry, and it's coming out of the dragon. Buy it right there with a risk box right there. Then after this, you could consider a second position here because it's cleared all of that. Then on this, that's still a pretty good exit because that happened so fast. Then I like this short, and I like the quick exit. On this PSAR flip, if your re-entry, your kata 2 re-entry could be there, and then this exit here should be here, and now your short is in great shape, and I would take that exit right here to help pay off some of those others, but that's pretty good work right there. Even as is, that's really good work. With you might double your performance with some of those other changes. The Qs. I think this is supposed to be red. I think you got short here. And that's fine. I don't think it's, you're thinking this. I would treat that as a collapsing dragon. That's all right. But I don't want to let it come all the way. This is supposed to fail right away. When it doesn't, it just immediately starts going up, enters the dragon, crosses the spine of the dragon, leaves the dragon. So either here or here is a legit exit. And then when I still like this re-entry short here. You might have waited for the PSAR flip, but I like that. And then again, when this does not fail, take the exit here, and that would probably prompt me to go long, to be honest. Instead of here, long here, and now you could scratch. You could exit anywhere in here and still make a micro gain. This should be short. It is. And then because of those other two losing trades, I'd probably want to cash right here. Now I want you to notice, trust the PSAR. Entry, risk box, exit. Entry. Now, I like this because you kept a little more, but you're all right there. DIA, you're in the middle of the river. There's not a single trade in there. Pure sideways quiet channel. It's not until You have a Z3 pinch. And then we have a breakdown. Now we are starting to do range expansion. See how the Z3s are coming? And now I have a winter going to spring. PSAR flip. There's my entry. And here's my PSAR stop. All that. This might have gotten you out, but then that should get you right back in. So you should have 2 trades on this one. To approximately there and approximately there. All right. Mullen. So gap down. Okay, OR3. I'll buy that. This is supposed to go. When it doesn't, it's already below this collapsing dragon level. You could be short here. And then this would be a second position. And I'm not sure. Did you exit here? Oh, no, I'm sorry. You exited here. Oh, we got to exit here. This is supposed to go, so we exit here and get short there. And then that's the second position. And here's where we cover. And now here's our PSAR flip. That gets paid. This gets paid. That gets paid. This scratches. That gets paid. Here's why this is such a great entry. Look at how far this harsh winter came out of the Red River, and when it reverts to spring, you should be stocking entries right in here. Now, after the harsh move, even though you didn't make bank on that, that's the harsh move that tells you it's in play. So you should be really focusing on Devon. The fact that it had such a huge move tells you that it's in play, and that predicts a big move like this and a big move like that. When they're in play, play them. This should be our long, and our Kata 2 long, and a Kata 2 long. This is a good long out of the OR3. I think you waited too long to get out of this one. This had 2 chances to go and it didn't. Take it at the edge of the dragon. Yeah. So it had a run up and failed, run up and failed. Take it there. I don't mind this as a collapsing dragon. You could exit right here instead of here, and then that's your long. And that trade would pay for both of those. And this Kata 2 would get paid. So remember, you left the ones that were in play in order to come to NVIDIA, which is kind of not in play. And now you're trading it inside this choppy river. You don't need those trades at all. The first one you should take is this one, because you got the Z3 pinch, and now you have the first breakout heading towards the VWAP. It doesn't pay off, but that's the one you take. This was a good re-entry that got paid. That got paid. That's all good. This is Peter. Boy, there's so much going on in this one. Yeah, lower highs. Collapsing dragon. That is a correct short. This is supposed to fail right away, but it doesn't. It PSAR flips and goes up. So that's a good exit. That's also your PSAR flip entry. You could legitimately wait for the collapsing dragon, or the emerging dragon, I should say. But technically, you could take that entry. And then on this run up, you could have a second position here and then cash that winner when it's here. Then it reverses higher. That's a good re-entry. On this beautiful run and coming all the way back down in here, dude, take it. Cash that win. I like waiting for this. This should scratch instead of this. I like this short. It does not fall through the VWAP. I would scratch it, and I'd be long here and probably scratch somewhere over in here. And then I would just say, look, now I got the Z3 lines compressing. Let me just wait for this thing to get into a range compression like here. And now I can play the breakout here and get paid on this PSAR flip, and I should be long that whole trade. And if I get out here, which you do, then you re-enter here. What you guys should be doing is copying this video, get you Wondershare video suite for $100. Download the YouTube video, snip your coaching video, and then start collecting my commentaries into a video coaching library in your learning journal. That's what you should do. Let's see here. Nice tight compression. Oops. Hang on. Yeah, OR. Okay, here's the OR3. There's your OR3 entry. Second position. Third position. Fourth and exit. I like the short, and I would like to see your stop and reverse either there or here. The emerging dragon gets paid, but you realize waiting for certainty gives back some. I like the short. I love this quick reversal. And now we just got out of it right away. If you're going to get out that fast, then you must get in that fast, or don't get in there at all. Pull that trigger. This entry short should be here, not here. And then that gets paid a little bit. So, good work. Making bank. Yeah, for Greg, the thing you want is you get some kind of morning hook and then your PSAR flip, and that thing makes a big run up, and then it just kind of monkeys around. And then when you see that, that's where the range compression comes in. And then like a coiled spring, when that's inside like one frog box intraday. Now what I can do is I can play the Z3 breakout of a Z3 pinch in either direction. Now when we do that, it's either going to go right away, and that's why we take it when there's a Z3 pinch breakout, or it could be, if it was short, it could go fake one, reverse, and then we scratch that and go long here, playing initially for the far side of the channel, and then if that works, it goes really long, then you get an amazing trade. You might take a -1 or a scratch here, but we call that fake one, go two. And it could also be fake one, go two. But this, when you see, after this nice, great big move, you know it's in play. There might be a couple trades you try as continuations, but when they don't follow through, the range expansion of the Z3 line starts to compress. It looks like this. And then somewhere in here, When it's becoming sideways quiet channel, you don't trade it at all until it becomes abnormally pinched. And then you put that bidirectional risk box on it. Tight risk, Z3 breakout, and follow the mover. The size of this move, the first move, is what we think the second move could be in either direction. Okay. All right, that's enough of that. All right, let's go to... Yeah, the 150. Still monkey. Look how tightly compressed that thing is. So that tells you that a break in either direction is going to be that range compression that we just explored on the intraday. Right? That's how tightly compressed today's range was. And how close to an... This is a significant breakout. If that breaks out, it's had one chance, two chances, three chances, four chances. It has failed. When that breaks through, it's going to go. But if this breaks, you're not allowed to be surprised if it comes to here or all the way to here, because it did before. So from this tiny little acorn, large moves can occur. This is how tightly compressed today's range was. It closed poorly, but the important thing was that that's what today's range was right there. And you can see if that fails, it's going to come test this. If that fails, it'll come test this. If that fails, it comes down and tests the 10-day low. If that fails, look out below to the 30-day low. But if this breaks out, it'll come test the PSAR and the 5-day high, and then it'll test the emerging dragon, and then it'll test the 30-day high, the 150-day high, and then if that breaks out, look out above to 420 and beyond. So we're really looking at a range of 394 to 420. That's $26 on 400. That's about 3.1%. That's how wide that channel is. It's only 3% wide. No, I guess it's more, about 8%. Yeah, it's $26 from here to here. That's about 8%. This is 3% inside here. The 30 day. Now, this is where it's a little easier to see those support. These are the same support levels. So here's today's high and low. Oops, sorry. Today's high and low. Today's price. 5-day high. 10-day low. Still bull quiet. Showed a little bit of weakness today. Vulnerable to increased volatility. Really having a hard time pulling away from the 200-day moving average, and the strength of trend is beginning to get weak. Aging bull. a lot of symbols in the auto framer. That means almost everything is pulled back significantly from the 10-day high. Real weakness in, what is that? Intel? No, IBM. Weakness in IBM and in Procter. In the ETFs, strength in Brazil, or Mexico and Japan, and Latin America. A handful of auto framers. This is a market that is waiting with bated breath. Standard auto framers and squeezes. A lot of squeezes today because of how narrow the daily range was. And notice the things at the very top. This range compression is what leads to surprising big breakouts. Look at that. Spiders, Qs, S&P Tech, Disney, and Tesla. This market is ready to make an explosive move in the next 2 days. Lots of Godzillas. The Tyson Foods Godzilla remained a raging Godzilla. PayPal, raging Godzilla. It's also in our tactical set. Standard stats, I'll let you read it. We had a long session today. This was not a promising day. All of the big indexes were weak. Only specialty things were strong. You know, Bitcoin, Brazil, uranium, Robinhood, Boeing, VIX, Coinbase. These are not huge names. They are specialty names. But I love Mexico. I like U.S. Steel. Love Mexico. PayPal is in play. Godzilla. Devon Energy woke up sharply and is in play. Look at, there's very few other things that had vigorous moves today, but Devon was one of them. And energy is in the winter, so don't be surprised to see Devon make a big down move tomorrow. Real differentiation in the business cycles of all those different stocks. That's the argument in favor of constructing a portfolio like this that has symbols in all of the different regions of the four seasons. So depending on what style you want, if that's the zero line in the MACD, and you're a guy that likes to exploit weakness in the winter, well, you have some of those. Oh, you're a guy that likes to exploit the recovery in the spring. Well, we got those too. Now, I like to wait for confirmation of the summer. Okay? Have at it. I'm looking to harvest in the fall, but I'm also ready for that fall to turn back into an Indian summer, if I can say it that way, without objection, as the saying goes, and get that second growing season. Massive sell-offs. Very few things looking strong. The globals and the defensive plays. Gold. Oil maybe starting to make a rebound. But otherwise, there's a lot of... This is a narrowing bull that's starting to fall down. All right, that's everything we got for today. We'll get this published and posted. Thanks for your kind attention.